So I've been to some of the sessions. I went to the Chris Long tribute earlier on, which was really, really nice. That was a good
couldn't
session. Yeah, there was quite a few people there, which was really nice. And his wife said a few words, and his friend said a few words. It was really quite lovely.
Still so sad.
Yeah. Oh, tragic. Absolutely tragic. That's yeah. But hopefully we can keep on with his legacy, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. No, that's not hope. Yeah. So what do you do?
What do I do?
For employment, for work.
For employment, I am a lecturer in computing. So I teach in a college, but I teach higher education. So I teach like level 4 and level 5 studies. So sort of games design, security, robotics, all that sort of thing. It's a lot of fun. And of course, VR. We're introducing VR into the curriculum this year, which is why I'm involved with educators in VR.
Nice.
Hello.
Here she is.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hey, Caitlin. Yeah, we're fine, thanks.
Awesome.
Let's do this handshake here.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm in 2D, so I'm just like the straight guy.
I see. And did Chris go to get a coffee? This always concerns me.
He's sitting down on the job. He's gone to sort out the live feed.
Oh, I see. I kind of, I just love it when I see him immersed in the floor. It's like not a great thing, but yet, this is awesome. Stephen, you have your T-shirt. Yeah. That's great. Oh,
I know, right? Is it coming up as blue? Show the blue.
Yes. Yes,
blue.
It's coming up as blue, and you're doing. I mean, there's sort of a Mr. Hulk thing happening with one side, like one of your arms is like popping through the sleeve, but that's okay. It only happens in the back for like a couple pixels where it looks like. I'll take a picture at one point so you can see.
I have to.
Let me see menu.
What about that?
I'm always really slow with my camera. Okay.
And then in Quest you can't angle it, right? That's frustrating.
Wait, let me see.
Chris is back.
Stephen, if you walk a little bit to your left, it's perfect. For some reason, my camera's not moving. Farther, and move your left hand down and step forward. Sorry. Yay. All right. I'll show you. We need a mirror. Hi, Chris. Welcome back.
Okay, are you ready for me to hit the live stream? Oh, hey, Steven, what's up?
Hey.
I got hands this time.
All right.
Okay. Do I look okay?
You look great.
The right side. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was fishing. I was like, come on, tell me.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go live stream.
Always amazing.
If somebody can also check and see after I do hit live, if I'm curious if it is actually coming through to educators. There's been a lot of problems with that.
Oh, you mean to
the YouTube?
Oh, to the YouTube. Yeah, I had problems last night getting Alvin's keynote to run on YouTube, so I had to like jump in and then jump out, and I was looking to live stream. Okay. And I'm almost
I'm gonna go live now. Here we go.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
I'll set up. I like the idea of having.
Oh, I'm gonna throw the screen up for you. You can just push the button yourself too if you. Oh, I got to make you co-host though. Hang on.
Caitlin.
Yes.
What I normally do at the beginning is I just like give a 2-3 minute spiel about you just to introduce you. Are you happy for me to do that?
I think that would be lovely. I like that.
Tim's got the best announcer voice ever. I love it.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, you do. You totally do.
You and Caitlin both have. Okay, we can't leave Steven Sato out of it too, Mr. Podcaster over there.
I actually think probably.
I want you off the stage. Okay.
I'm including Bill in my mind. I feel like all of us here present in this room have compelling voices, and
Absolutely.
like when Chris speaks, I'm like, oh wow, that's it. You've got a nice relaxing cadence. It's really great.
Oh, thanks. Look at that. He's an owner of a new Educators in VR shirt here.
I know.
Can I say?
I love it.
I wish I had a full body, but I'm in a Quest.
Yeah. I pointed out the Incredible Hulk action happening on his left sleeve. Do you see it?
I do. He's busting out, man. This guy. Look at the ooh! Look at those muscles.
It's awesome. All right, I'm just taking a sip of coffee in case you wonder why my hands are wonky right now. I'm trying to sip coffee with my headset is really hard.
Hey, Tim, I'm going to make you co-host as well.
Okay.
It's just you never know.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that.
I got the power. Okay.
We're gonna do something cool here today that hasn't. I love it when I get impressed on the platform by new things.
You didn't know that could happen. Oh, are you playing a video that's important to stay up there?
No, not at all.
Okay, because I'm looking at my media. YouTube.
Hey, Chris, you want to... Oh, I fell off. Chris, do you want a little bug?
Yeah.
Do I want to do what?
If I go to selfie camera... Oh, no, there's your full body. You weren't full body before. That's bizarre. In the selfie camera, you were just a head.
Huh.
Oh, in the selfie camera, that is true.
Oh, okay.
Because he is on a Windows machine, and Windows don't get to see their whole body.
I see what happens. If I do that, I get rid of the cool ambient music. I like the ambient music.
Yeah, I got nothing. No music.
Well, no, it's Chris was playing this lovely thing, and I just overrided with my slides.
That music was from our portal in the forest, Caitlin.
Oh, I love it.
But it was lovely.
Should we go back to that? And I know how to start my slides when.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do a little until everyone gets here and we start. Yeah.
Have you started the live stream yet, Chris?
It is started. Are you seeing anything on your end? I was just given that new key.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can see it.
Beautiful. Unfortunately, everyone's going to get it through my view, which means it's going to be a little all over the place.
Oh, that's what I look like. Oh, right, okay.
Chris, I was wondering something. In my tablet, do I need to click on the slides to advance them, or can I do something without them showing to make them move?
You can just hit the image itself on the tablet. You can hit the next arrow key on your tablet, or the arrows at the bottom. Either one.
But if I don't want my tablet, is there any way to make those slides go? Oh, I can. My joystick. Okay.
How did you? I didn't know you could do that.
I did it with my. When in doubt, test it out.
Wait, hold on. You can just do this through.
Watch, I close my tablet.
Okay.
All I have are my hands, no tablet.
Let's see the magic.
Oop. Oh. Huh. Well, I thought it worked.
Another way you could do it is you could stand over here to the side and pull up. Actually, you probably want to do it on this side because we're going to have some action on that side of the stage. Pull up your other menu here, and then you can or off to the side and then take a few steps away from it. You can always do it that way too, because nobody else is going to see that menu. Only you will.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to use my tablet.
Okay.
I'm just going to use it because it's easier. It's more intuitive. But I'll let you put up the music as people come in.
Oh, yeah. We got your clock up there for you.
I got it. Wow. That's awesome. Okay. I'll go down here. Oh, Tim, do you want to introduce me while I'm on stage, or do you care which way?
Either, whatever you're comfortable with. What I'll then do is I'll then move off to the side so I'm out of the way.
Okay. Well,
should we give it just 2 more minutes?
Yeah. Sounds
Is that
good.
okay?
Yeah, we're just now at the top of the hour.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I see people dropping in here.
Yeah. We'll give them a minute and just...
Yeah. Tim, I'll start here, and then when you're on the side viewing, I think it would be really cool, probably from the front row, if you wanted to sit there.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Because we have some things happening.
The front row will be interesting. Let's just leave it at that.
Hi, Anna.
Hey, Anna.
Hey, Anna.
No, you're not going to get motion sick. You'll be okay. You'll be all right.
No motion sickness, Steven.
Yeah. No motion sickness.
I'm so sorry. It probably took you a day to recover from. I gave you like the mega dose the other day.
I know. I didn't have to swallow anything.
We got sunburned Brian appearing again.
Right.
Oh boy,
I put on all
Brian.
kinds of lotion, but it didn't help. I don't know why. It just
love it.
still hurts.
Was it virtual lotion?
Yay.
Yeah. Well, obviously that's why it didn't work. It was virtual. I learned.
Let this be a lesson. Don't go out
Okay.
on the moon's surface without
Okay,
lotion.
Anna.
I did.
Hi,
Kate,
Anna.
I went outside
Hello.
and it had no
How are
space.
you?
How are you? Finally.
Good. Good to see
Hi.
you. Ooh, I like your pinstripes. Nice to see you today. Happy post Valentine's Day.
Santo.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
too.
That's great.
I'm Brian.
I was like, yeah, I couldn't make it.
Oh, your
just
voice
couldn't
works
make
now.
it.
Oh no,
Earlier it
no.
didn't or something,
I
right?
like
Well,
the
you
thought
heard
of you
earlier,
out
right?
having fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
I was
And then I came
was
on another
Alvin's
station with
station
Chris here and he showed me around and what
Okay,
you've been doing
okay,
and all
yeah.
stuff.
I
So,
think,
but
Yeah.
I think I
after
seen you
the
earlier,
back,
but maybe
Oh,
couldn't
you'll
talk.
get it.
Really,
Anyways.
I have
I would really
chef
find a
hat on.
slot and
Chef
attend
outfit.
your
Yes.
station
Yes.
except for today.
Even being
just
here,
seeing you.
being here now, you're
I
gonna
can't
get
hear
a
much.
lot.
It's loud over
Yeah,
there, so I can't
yeah.
hear you much. So,
I'm sorry. I know.
no.
Everybody's ambient voices. Okay,
Right.
we're getting ready to start, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
stand over on the
I'm
side.
better.
Okay.
Is that better? Is
Woohoo.
that better?
Yeah, it is. And FYI, we do have a live stream going here as well.
Sorry.
Just no, I'm just saying to everybody, be
I know.
aware. You're always always
recorded.
assume you're being recorded.
Be on the
Yeah.
other, sorry, I need to be on the other
Right.
side. Sorry.
It's kind of scary.
Oh yeah.
'cause
Oh Anna,
sometimes I get a little
I was
too
gonna tell you,
excited.
when you have a chance, sitting in the front row is gonna be awesome. If you
Whoa.
Okay.
yes, that's where I recommend for a good view. Ha.
Right. Like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend everyone to sit in the front row if you have a choice. Because we're virtual and why not?
Right.
And then you
Right.
get a good view.
Mhm.
I love that David has an astronaut suit still on. It's super.
Hello, Anna.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
for the
Brian.
atmosphere.
Hi, Jay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Did you want everybody muted, Caitlin, or
I think for talking, just in case there's ambient noise, that would be
Mhm.
wise. And we all
Yeah.
have, Chris is we
Right.
have
Chris
we
is
have-
used to it.
our master controls, so we can
Absolutely.
unmute as
I mean,
needed.
if everybody wants to just mute themselves, that would be great, or we can go in and mute you. We're going to start in just a minute, and what I'm going to do is just introduce Caitlin. I mean, I'm sure you all know who Caitlin is, but I'll just do a formal introduction, and then I'll hand over to Caitlin, and then at the end, if we have any questions, then we can ask them at the end. Okay. So we'll just have one more minute and then we'll make a start. So if you'd like to mute yourselves, please. We are on live stream, so be aware that you are being recorded. And if you sit nearer the front, your experience is more guaranteed. Okay. I think we'll make a start, Caitlin, if that's okay.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, great. Okay. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming along. This is the presence and mindfulness with a dose of neuroscience in VR. So we are with Caitlin Krause. She's the founder and CEO of Learning Design
Tim?
Futurist.
I'm sorry to
I'm here for
interrupt, but
feedback.
I'm experiencing an echo of your voice. Your
It's
voice
already
is in
taken
surround
care of.
sound.
We're
Okay,
Thank
so I didn't know
you.
if you wanted to kind of restart.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hearing
If you
myself
don't
and I'm
want to,
thinking,
it's totally fine.
I was working through it in the hope that I was the only one who could hear it, but obviously not. Right.
It's
Okay,
just
so
your voice is too beautiful, so we need to
Oh,
hear
well,
it twice.
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming along. We're here with Caitlin Krause for the Presence and Mindfulness with a Dose of Neuroscience in VR session. We're here in this wonderful moon base that's been created in the Engage platform. And Caitlin is the founder and CEO and learning design futurist of Mindwise. She specializes in UX design, story and well-being in XR. She works as a script writer and a VA/AR story designer in digital therapeutics with a focus on mental health VR using mindfulness, guided imagery, HCD, biofeedback, BA, and CBT. She's the founder of the consultancy Mindwise, and Caitlin launched her book Mindful by Design which was published in 2019 by Corwin Press, at the World Economic Forum, and spoke about the future of education, sci-fi, and immersive technology. Through her leadership and organizational consulting, she helps individuals and teams create connection in the midst of complexity and change. She recently created a mindfulness and SEL series in social VR, fusing presence, storytelling, curiosity, and emotional intelligence. And if I may also say, she's also an excellent poet. So without further ado, I shall move out of the way. And Caitlin, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I'll give you a hug.
Oh, thank you. I'm in 2D.
Immersive hug. Thanks so much for your kind
Thank you.
welcome. This is great. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this time with you in community, not just on stage, but also in the audience at different sessions. I look around the room and see a lot of familiar faces. So first off, I just wanted to start with the word gratitude. I know already we've had some special sessions today, and just inspiring you or inviting you to take a moment just to be joyful, be grateful for being here and having this ability. I don't underestimate it, to be able to come to the moon landing site, be together in community. You know, it really is something that is wondrous, and it's my privilege to be up here sharing some of the stories. Of course, you know, we're just going to gloss over a few details, and there's never enough time in an hour. So I put up at the beginning, just this idea to start where we are, and also to back up and let people know, if you have more things that you're curious about, please reach out to me. I have lots of resources and research and details, and it's my passion and motivation to be able to share them with you. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to just take a moment. I have to remind myself often when I'm traveling places, doing different exercises that are really hands-on, to just start with an idea of being where we are. So as we look at the idea of mindfulness and presence, it's really an intentional choice to drop in on the moment with yourself. So I'm inviting you to just take a breath where you are in your seat and just intentionally drop in on this moment with yourself. And as I do that, I'm reminding myself that I choose to be here in this moment. I choose to have this experience. And I'm open to some of the surprises that might happen along the way. Thank goodness this is not a simulation. You know, this is something that's happening for each of us in lifetime in our own free way. You know, we get to choose how to approach it, and we get to acknowledge our own presence. So that's pretty cool in itself. Now, I think this is especially funny because behind this is another Earth that was put in on this virtual world, and it's a moment of wonder for me just looking at it. Claude Nicollier is the first Swiss astronaut who went into space, and he had all this engineering training. And when he was interviewed after he went into orbit, he said that that moment of looking down on the Earth was one of complete wonder. He knew his stuff, he knew his skills, but he dropped all sense of being in his own head computing and thinking, and he just stared at the Earth with a sense of wonder. And for me, hearing him share that story, they have a word for that for astronauts. It's called the overview effect. And for me, I experience this all the time in VR. And I know you can't cheer and shout, but just, you know, raise your hand above your head if you've ever felt like that yourself. Like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm in my body, but I'm also out of my body at the same time. Yeah, that sense of wonder and connection is really something that VR has a possibility to build on in a way that I think is unique. You know, and it's something that maybe in these beginning stages, sometimes we take for granted and we move on to the next stage. But if we think about in our bodies, what's happening with this wonderscape, a lot of that has to do with mindfulness and presence and just being in yourself and losing yourself in this experience. So with that wonder idea, connection is my mission. Like my mission is to empower connection for each individual, for each group. So mindfulness and social emotional learning, they happen all the time as a base layer in really great educational planning. So if we think about our education mission, to have learners deeply connected and to have ourselves deeply connected in this experience as we're building in VR is part of what makes it special, makes it meaningful, and makes learners feel like they're really there and part of the learning in an engaged way. So let's see. Question for you right now is just to think about what you do to reconnect. Because maybe even in this conference, you feel like it's jumping point to point to point. You might use VR to reconnect. This is an example today in the session of ways that you can use VR to reconnect. But what do you do right now? Just inviting you to think for a moment about a personal practice you have that you use when you need to reconnect. For me, one of my practices is running. I just love running, going out in the woods, picking a trail, running, feeling my heartbeat. Some people love cooking. Some people choose to meditate and have a formal meditation session. Other people might play with a dog or, take another pet out and go for a hike, something like that. I think that whatever we're doing, that is an aspect of mindfulness if we're intentional about it and it's increasing our awareness in the moment. If I ask people about a feeling of reconnection, they often tell me something that reminds me of this. Like when they reconnect, they feel like they're expansive and they can breathe and their lungs are filled with clear air. And if I ask them about disconnection, they often tell me something that makes me think of this image that people, we're going so fast now, and that's the world we've created, a pace that's almost beyond our intentions, and we have to catch up. I was a full-time teacher for over 10 years in middle school and high school, and I would often ask my students, how do you feel in the middle of this world? And they said sometimes they feel really disconnected and they're trying to catch up and trying to have experiences socially online as a way to authenticate their experience. So I was asking them, okay, if we didn't capture it, if we don't take pictures, if we don't post constantly, did it actually happen? And if you don't smile in them, were you having fun? And this is a bigger topic. We could have a talk for, a day about this in social media. I think that VR is actually not a medium. It's an experience that can bring people back to themselves. So when I hear about digital innovation and about people using different media and feeling oversaturated and overwhelmed, I feel like VR has the capacity, both in education and in our personal life, to bring us back closer to ourselves. And I think it's interesting to really step back and look at how we're using different forms of technology and how we're approaching ourselves in the process, because this is happening right now, and students are telling me it's really important to them not to feel forced, not to feel that they have to use connection in a way that's false on these forms of media, because it starts to then feel like an impulse instead of a choice. So one of my missions with education is to design for mindful connection, and that's where mindfulness and social emotional learning comes in. Yeah, so really to think about the brain and think about some of the recent findings we have in neuroscience. because that bottom line of creativity and innovation tends to come from that type of mindset. So it's really the creative mindset that's at the end of this process, which is all about inviting mindfulness. So this session today, I wanted to just introduce you to some of the ideas of mindfulness, and then go from there and have an experience ourselves, just a mini experience. And for me, this is really learning 2.0. It's taking the advantage of all these findings and then putting it into practice in a way that is our own. And I say that to each of you in the room because your classroom is your group. And I'm not going to say to Steve Bowie, this is the way that you have to design your classroom. I wrote a book and I call it Mindful by Design because each of us is a designer and each of our students is a designer. You're a designer of the experience that you want to have. And of course, you can seek out my stories, seek out Bill's, talk to David, find out what works for him, and then you pick and choose and create your own wonder space in your classroom where students are involved and empowered. Okay, this is a lot of text, but I would say for me, it's important to have it all up there because when I was at the VHIL, the Virtual Human Interaction Lab at Stanford, I was really thinking about, okay, what is VR doing that's different? And why am I feeling this presence in such a visceral way that makes me want to create learning worlds that incorporate VR and leadership worlds and new spaces for mindfulness? I think, looking at this slide, it goes beyond the words. These new rules of identity and space are something we feel. We don't have to conceptualize them. I say we don't learn from the neck up, we learn with our whole body. And in VR, it makes so much more possible as we play with those ideas and think about them. So it's no doubt if you're in this room or if you're watching the live feed or if you're in AltSpace, you chose to be there for a reason. For me, it has something to do with these words, this new empathy enhancement, the way that we connect with each other that can be deeper and even more meaningful than what's existed in the past. And that's amazing. Don't underestimate it. And new research is coming out every day that really backs up these ideas of using VR for mindfulness, for connection, and for empathy. So I've been overseas. I was living in Belgium, living in Switzerland. I've been teaching and working all over the world. And a lot of people will say, well, what is this word mindfulness? They're familiar with it, but might not have had a concrete definition for it. So my definition uses 3 A's. And today I just wanted to explore those 3 A's and use this space as a chance to connect. Okay, so right now, wherever you are in the room, as I break down the 3 A's, I just want to go back to that question I asked at the beginning, what you use to reconnect in your life when you feel a sense of disconnection. And just think about the 3 A's as an like, I'm feeling a sense of wonder, or I'm feeling more relaxed. The first A stands for awareness. So as you're sitting in this room and we're experiencing awareness, it means with all of our senses. So with your sight, with your sense of smell, touch, sound, you're dropping in on that. And mindfulness encompasses awareness because it means you're physically aware and you're also taking notice of your internal landscape. So what's happening in your mind? And it could be a curious awareness. Like right now, maybe you notice something happening that's a little different in the room. Yeah. And I'm smiling because I'm seeing it right now all around me. And intentionally the symbol here is water for awareness, because water is one of those elements that has a changing condition, right? It can be hot or cold. Sometimes there are waves and we have to ride them, right? And with mindfulness, as you're approaching that and thinking symbolically of the water, realize that it's up to you to be aware and to invite yourself to both appreciate the moment, and it's not always sunny and happy. Like sometimes the waves feel like a storm, right? To be aware of that using qualities of mindfulness means that you kind of start watching yourself in each moment. Like right now, you might be sitting in the front row thinking, why did I listen to Caitlin and sit in the front row? It's the splash zone. I'm getting wet, and you're kind of having this mini levity conversation where you can actually laugh at that. You can zoom out of yourself as if you're at the end of a movie and kind of watch yourself watching the water. You can think about how much you appreciate being able to be here in VR, and you can start looking at your hands, your virtual hands in VR, and start playing with the water. And all of those simple kind of childlike exercises are part of mindfulness because it really takes us back to that state of just looking and not assessing. Yeah, and for learners, that's really key because you can approach any topic and invite a quality of awareness. And suddenly, it's not about proving what I set out to prove. It's about investigating the different angles that might be possible in a very simple experience. Yeah, so being aware, and people like John Kabat-Zinn, who developed mindfulness-based stress reduction programs, they'll say that awareness is on purpose. Like you don't just happen to be aware because your body happens to sense things. You're intentionally inviting that awareness. And what better place than VR to invite curiosity and say, let's drop in on this moment. Let's be aware. Okay, so, oh my gosh, I just turned around. Oh. So first you're aware, and then the second A stands for advancing. Yeah, so the symbol for advancing is a tree today, just as a hook. This is like a memory palace. So I'm giving you anti-slides, like slides that are 3D objects. So the tree stands for advancing because it's not, I say the word advancing and some people think, oh, I mean standards and checking boxes and jumping through hoops. No, I mean like a tree, you're grounded. So each learner has their ground. They feel support, like a tree feels support in its roots, right? But it's lifting up. It's got an impulse. Like a tree has the gravity and the levity. So that advancement stands for being able to see past some limiting beliefs. Maybe there are stories that we're carrying as learners or as leaders that are limiting us from our potentials. The tree wants to stretch toward the sun. It's reaching its branches up, its leaves, and it's adapting. It's adapting to the conditions of its environment, and at each step, I think there's a great kind of Greek play that talks about this quality of the tree to be flexible, right? Like when the wind comes, the strong trees are not actually the ones that are brittle and tied in their places, but they're flexible in the wind, and they have this ability for their branches to move and to stretch and to grow in a way that's really flexible and fluid. So as we think about the tree and for ourselves being like the tree, that quality of advancing is really about leaning into opportunities that come up in the moment, right? If we have a space for ourselves, and mindfulness helps give us that capacity, then we're able to not only adapt, but seek out the qualities, like seek out the sunlight that is good for us, and really, really fits what we're promoting and working toward in our sense of purpose. So that really is the moment of tree and growth. And the third A stands for authenticity. So this is the hardest part. If you think about mindfulness and non-judgment, authenticity, So I look over, there's fire. Yeah, so the theme here with authenticity is the candle, right? And the candle and the light that travels, right? We don't exist alone. We exist in a community, and an authentic community and authentic individuals are ones that share their fire, like share their light with others, seek support and strength from others. Resilience doesn't happen in an individual way. It happens in a way where there are different ups and downs, and the social environment can help and really support each other in a way that involves vulnerability as well. And for leaders and learners, that's a lesson that's sometimes really hard in education. Alvin Graylin talked about this last night, about how the impulse is to perform and to really promote ourselves on an individual level. That was the archaic old style of learning 1.0. But as we move to 2.0, really this idea of relational trust, that people trust us more when we say, hey, I don't have all the answers. I have to seek that light from elsewhere in my community. Oh, we have something new here in the school. I don't know everything about it. And you get your learners involved, becoming some of the experts who are going to help lead others. I think it's really empowering as a leader to acknowledge that we don't know everything, thank goodness. And part of that authentic connection with mindfulness, can't even see the slide, it's really funny, it's appropriate. With mindfulness, part of that third A of authenticity is knowing that not only is that okay, but that's expected. It makes you stronger and more capable as a leader and a lifelong learner when you're authentic and people see, oh yeah, you're not pretending to have all the answers and score perfect on every test, but you know how to seek out others, and you know how to thrive and exist in a moment. And I like to say authenticity also is about having humor and being able to step back and just laugh at the moments that happen. I know all of them are not funny, but a lot of them, if we're not fixed too tightly on outcomes, we start to see that discovery happens when there's that type of flow. So practices in mindfulness can add to all of these elements being part of our lives. And I put that out there intentionally, just as water, tree, candle, so that you can take those ideas away. And when you're thinking, oh, what is mindfulness? How do I use it? That's really the digging down to elements that remind you of how to incorporate each of those in an interesting way. And I've come up with exercises that work for me. I'm happy to share them because I've led them with groups all over the world, some in learning spaces, some in leadership spaces, people of all ages. We're lifelong learners. So really, this is a conference getting together to talk about how we both unlearn strategies from the past that didn't work so well and embrace some of these new learning strategies that work really well with the wonder technology of VR. So I wanted to also, with the three elements, just give us one exercise, kind of hands-on, lungs-on. I love it. I'm having so much fun right now. I'm grinning ear to ear if my avatar doesn't show it. Yeah, thank you. So one exercise that you can do right now with me, we're going to do it together, one of the first times, So just take it as it goes. But for me, okay, if this is a jewel, it's a gem in front of us, and it's going to guide us in a breathing exercise. For me, the way that I ground and get back to self, like let's say that you're waiting for a long time in an office and you're just kind of stressed out from the waiting. Maybe you cannot import water and tree and fire. You can have them in your mind, but here's just a simple breathing exercise that you can do for yourself, because lots of studies show it just takes 3 breaths to reset your system, just get you back feeling in flow, feeling connected. So with me, I'm just going to lead 3 breaths. So the first thing I would invite is just for wherever you are, whether you're sitting, the ideal would be to sit, for this exercise, but you could be standing. Just put yourself at the edge of the seat. This is where the tweet comes in, Stephen, from yesterday. You're going to be on the edge of your seat. So put yourself at the edge of your seat so you feel like you're not falling asleep. Like, the idea for some breathing and mindfulness is to invite your body into a state of dignity. You respect it, you love it, and you're inviting yourself to be present, be aware, but be comfortable, like not forced. Okay? So with me, now that you're relaxed and you've rolled your shoulders back and you feel like you're good to go in your seat, okay? Just going to invite you to take a deep breath in. It could be in through your nose or out through your mouth. So in, and you can visualize this gem expanding as you breathe in. And then you feel the breath full in your lungs and you let it exhale really slowly. Just exhale completely, letting go of anything. Then you feel that emptiness in your lungs and you can turn and inhale a second time. And as you inhale a second time, just feel the word possibility, right? And as you exhale, let go of anything that's negativity. Yep, just feel it lift off of you. You exhale completely. And then a third breath in. You can let a slight smile come across your face. And then exhale and just let anything go that you feel you might be holding on to as you exhale. Yeah. And when you don't have a virtual diamond to be your gemstone, you can be in a classroom and use your hands to do a breathing space exercise with students, just 3 breaths. You can use an expansion ball. They have these balls that expand that you can use to represent your lungs. I don't know about you, but just 3 breaths. I mean, just raise your hand if you feel a little more relaxed right now than when you entered the session. Maybe right now than before. Use yourself as a testing ground. I don't know, so I don't claim authority over your body and your experience, but I know that mindfulness and social emotional aspects invite me to use myself as a testing ground. So I'm constantly stepping back saying, how does that feel? And if it feels good, I'll use it and I'll keep using it. If it doesn't, I cast it away and I look for another exercise that works for me and works for my group. Social emotional learning is really tied to mindfulness because it takes the context of presence and being there and respecting ourselves and holding dignity for each other, and then applies it socially to social groups, social learning groups. So all of these SEL practices are tied in with a base level, I think, of mindful awareness. They complement each other. Oh wow, there's a bird. I love it. Okay, so now I feel like Snow White. So now we're going to kind of, let's see. I'm going to play around a little bit, seeing if I move forward, I can just talk about this. Yeah, we don't even need, let's keep all the elements. I love them. The theme of VR is connection inside and out. That's what that says there. And Michio Kaku, who's a neuroscientist, he said, wow, there are 1 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. They're roughly the same as the number of neurons in our brain. Yeah, so pretty amazing that we have the same number of neurons in our brain as stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Studies recently have been showing that, of course, there's higher rates of burnout, higher rates of stress and anxiety. Articles that come out in research papers strongly reinforce that mindfulness practices relate to stress reduction, an ability to overcome setbacks, obstacles, all kinds of things that are in our way. So it's like this superpower that you're able to carry with you. And it's like swimming in a large lake as opposed to feeling like our body is trapped in a tiny cup. So what's happening in your brain, and I can share slides later, but it's really more important to just think about it and conceptualize. Aha, thank you very much. Thank you, Chris Madsen. So what's happening is when we feel a sense of a threat come in, the brain is naturally it's not hardwired, it's softwired, it's bio. We have a reaction in our limbic system that says, threat, we've got to react right away and get ourselves to a safe place. What mindfulness does is it brings up our regulatory processes. Like, it actually enhances our ability to take those threats and say, okay, in this moment, is this actually a threat, or is this something I'm perceiving? And can I use the mindfulness practice to really connect with myself and basically disempower that sense of being threatened? So it turns some fear into curiosity. It can turn our reactive system into more of a response system, so we're able to respond to what's happening in the moment. They say for educators, having a mindfulness practice, students will recognize it even if you don't say, hey, I'm practicing mindfulness. Like, students will just say, oh wow, I feel that sense of capacity. Like, I feel welcome in this room. I feel like, when things happen, my teacher is more able to respond to me and make me feel connected on a personal level. So right now, we've been, Chris Madsen and I have been doing group sessions together with educators, with leaders inside of VR, giving people a chance to learn about mindfulness and practice together as a group. And results have been great. And I will leave it up to others, take their word for it and not mine. When people come in together to a space where they're invited to be themselves, be comfortable, learn about mindfulness practices, there's so many of them, and also learn about ways you can take them back to your groups and use them.
I think we've just lost Caitlin for a moment, but hopefully she'll be back in just a second. If you just hang on for a moment.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I know she was about ready to wrap up on the slides, so I'm going to go ahead and take us over to her next environment.
I'm still here.
Oh, she is here. Yeah, I was about ready to move us on over to the next world, Caitlin.
I don't know what happened. The timer went on. I had a time clock.
Oh, is she gone again? Oh, there she is.
She's
Kayla,
there.
you're oh.
No.
Let's go ahead. I'm going to move us on over to the next location, guys.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know what, it keeps kicking me out and back in. Is there a reason?
Usually that's an internet related thing. If you lose connection, it'll pop you out, but I went ahead and moved this over to the winter scene.
Okay, beautiful. If it happens to do that, feel free, Chris, to just walk people through what it would be. And then tell them to go on the website.
We were rolling with the flow, Caitlin.
I love it. You guys know. You know how we roll. I was thinking, okay, I guess it's time to go. Yeah. Oh, I love that Tina and I have like a doppelganger outfit going on. It's so great. We choose wisely. complimenting us. Yay. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So right now, just wanted to give each person a moment. I'm not going to speak. I just want you to take the first minute and drink in the scene. Just look around and enjoy. So in this space, is it possible to have another round of the music really softly in the background? I don't know. I love that music. Chris is our master puppeteer of images, sound, and delight. It's really great when you can take a group in here. This is an example of one of the settings and scenes that we've created and designed to have people feel a sense of wonder and also gathered together in the snowscape. You can have breathing exercises. We lead all kinds of different forms of engagements, and some of them could be based on the breath. Other ones are based on senses and noticing. Some of them are group sharing and creative exercises with ideas. And sometimes it's nice also just to leave room. And maybe you're feeling that right now. John Keats, the poet, he has this phrase called negative capability. Like, what happens in a moment where we leave that emptiness as a space for each person to just be with their ideas? Maybe you're looking around and you start to see something that reminds you of a thought that you had that you forgot to capture. Maybe you're experiencing a memory and thinking about that and wanting to turn it into something creative that you're going to apply later in some way, but without any force. We're just inviting moments here for reconnection. I think that's really wonderful because in that modern pace, sometimes we don't leave the emptiness and leave the space for our mind to be free to explore and to feel that sense of freedom. So right now, I'm going to step back again and just invite you in the space to take a breath with me. So just take a breath in. Let breath fill your lungs. Maybe feel yourself standing up a little taller, feeling a little higher in your chair, and then exhale. Just picture the word ease. What does ease look like to you? And what does it feel like today to invite yourself to experience with a sense of ease? So keeping that in mind, keeping our capacities in mind, that's an example of what mindfulness and social emotional is in VR. And you can open up the space. You can have people in it that are from your classroom. They can share in a session designed for them, and then invite them to open up, share with each other, have different interactions. So it's really a playground of mindfulness and social emotional learning. And you're experiencing the beginning of something that's growing to be bigger, because there are new series that
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, we lost Caitlin again. If she comes back, which I hope she does, we'll have a chance to give her our thanks. I loved it. What do you guys think?
That was amazing.
That was awesome.
Chris, I've got to say I'm in tears.
Oh. And you're on
Caitlin-
desktop.
Yeah, man. I'm on
Caitlin
desktop.
has a very incredible gift, that girl does. Caitlin is
She
amazing.
does. She's amazing.
Absolutely.
Oh, and she's back. Let's
Speaking
give Caitlin
of-
a round. Give Caitlin our love. Thank you, Caitlin.
I have a million lives. So,
Get
in
things
case
working?
I go away again, I love you. I love
Don't
you.
go away.
Yeah, in case something pulls me into another metaverse. The key here is really to remember my name, Caitlin Krause, and CaitlinKrause.com, because we have all kinds, like Chris and I, co-designing. I'm leading new sessions and doing all of these experiences in a bigger way. So you can sign up by going to that website. And also, you saw my email, caitlin.krause@gmail.com. You can write to me and say, I want to have something. I want to do something. And it can be as customized as you wish. We also already have series that are created that you can jump into as educators and as leaders to co-learn with others in a way that builds and adds more skills. So this applies to all different areas of your focus, whether you're a science teacher, whether you're a principal, whether you're actually leading a business. This type of social skill and mindfulness, I think there's no better place than VR to practice it. And we need it for ourselves and for our learners. I feel like this is something that I started doing when I was teaching in the classroom, and then it brought me into spaces like hackathons and places where people need flexible mindsets. So I feel strongly about that. And I think for me, the reason I'm here is that passion to empower connection, and also to look around and just feel that connection with each of you. So I'm going to say, Chris, if you want to bring us back to moon landing, that's totally great with me. I think we have a few minutes where we can unmute everybody in the moon landing, and you can ask us questions if you want. I'll put up the slide again with the links.
Let's head on over. Here we go.
Thank you so much. Here we are.
It's raining people. I love how they drop in from the sky.
Yay. Okay. So there are our links. I don't know.
All right. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna unmute everybody. If you guys could soft mute yourself, meaning keep yourself muted and unmuted at your discretion. You can find the little microphone on the right-hand side of your menu when you open your menu. And I'm going to unmute everyone now. If I do hear background noises coming from someone, I'll probably go ahead and hard mute you. But here we go. Excellent. Looks like a lot of you have gone ahead and soft muted yourself, and it sounds really great. That's good. So
Yeah.
if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, you can just simply unmute your microphone.
Yeah. Okay. Whoops.
So we can,
Hello. Oh, and thank you. Thank you so much. It's been really
Yay.
awesome just being able to do this interactive presentation. It's unlike anything.
That was an amazing session, Caitlin. Really was amazing.
Thank you, Tim.
Caitlin,
Thank
you're
you
always
so
awesome.
much.
You're incredible. Thank
That's
you for being
Brian.
here.
I know his
Right.
voice anywhere.
Right.
Thank you, Brian. No, thank you so much. Yeah, this is awesome. Awesome
so
to have
Kate-
so many great people in the room. Yeah. hmm
I would love to hear, Caitlin. I know how busy you are and how much you do and how many people you help. Would you mind sharing with us one of your favorite, most recent experiences you've had in presenting mindfulness or working a mindfulness workshop with others? Is there something that just sticks out in your
Yeah.
mind? Vagueness. I'd love to hear something.
Sure. I'm looking up at this mobile cube here as my
Okay, that is
anchor.
cool.
Yeah, if
Shiny.
anyone else wants to stare at the cube while I talk.
I did yesterday.
I was involved in the recent MIT reality hackathon, and that just stands out in my mind. That was in January, and we had a bunch of people gathered. If you've ever been part of a hackathon, it tends to be pretty wild and hands-on and just go, go, go. And this group, it was great. They were, I was a mentor, and I went into different kind of areas where I was helping. And the thing, Brian, that stands out is that, again, it's kind of hectic, and there wasn't a lot of time to deeply focus. And then a group came to me, and they said, we need help, because I was bouncing around, helping with design and story and creation. And they said, we need help with this project that we're doing to add in subtitles. So they were doing a VR AR device that had auto subtitles so that people who were hearing impaired could still understand what was happening in VR. Yeah. And for me, the help that they needed in design and mindfulness really came with the storytelling elements. Like, how do we get this across? And I said, well, do you have any testimonials? Have you talked with any humans? And they said, no, we haven't. And I was like, I was saying to them, oh, it's really about creating a human connection. I feel like get human is one of my taglines. They had this beautiful device that was so well coded, but they had nothing that created a feeling of the people that they wanted to serve. So I said, have you talked with anyone who is hearing impaired? Within a day, they had found an online community of people who were hearing impaired, who wanted to use VR, who wanted to go in but lacked the accessibility. They had interviews going. They had somebody that was able to test what they had created and put their own feedback on it. And they ended up winning that section of the hackathon. And I feel like what they were saying to me as feedback is that the storytelling, the connection, the mindfulness elements let them really step back and see, oh, we're doing this to connect on a human level, even though we thought it was all about the coding and we thought it was all about the tech. So that story, it was just so powerful working with that group and being able to go deeper as a mentor, because you're always bouncing around saying, how can I be of use? Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Caitlin, I know some people are probably
yeah.
jumping to other classes as well, so I wanted to real quickly give you an opportunity. We would love people to experience the magic of this as much as possible, and Caitlin's going to be doing another round of this later today. Maybe Caitlin, you can give some details on that and the time, and if you guys could just put the word out, let folks know that this is something special, and this is what VR, in my opinion, is all about, is to be able to be present and bring that magic to us. So
absolutely,
we would love to see some new faces come around. People just don't know this is happening. So it'd be great if you could put the word out. Go ahead, Caitlin.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, you couldn't have said it better. That's at mindwise_CK is my tag on Twitter. So that's my ID if you want to put out notices. And later, 6 p.m. Pacific time, we'll be doing something that, similar experiences, different approach each time, kind of a deeper dive. But the idea here is to invite anybody in who's curious about the experience or just doesn't know how important, I think a topic like social, emotional, and mindfulness is. So just in community, more ways to interact, explore. And I think the other really important thing is that this day is not the end. It feels like a beginning. So if you felt like you had any kind of connection to this experience, even if you don't know what it will look like in your world, please reach out. Write to me at my email. Tell me that you're interested. Go online. There is a place that you can join on the webpage to stay alerted, because these sessions are coming out big time, and they're meant to have groups involved, classes involved. That's the beauty. We can have these trainings in many ways, and that's what I want to build, an experience community with you involved. So that's the invitation out there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. That's a fantastic session.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you too.
Everyone, a round of applause,
there you
please.
are.
It's
Thank you.
I'm here, but I can't clap. I'm sorry.
Yay.
I'm in
pleasure.
2D, so I can't clap, but I'll do this.
Virtual
Can you hear
clapping. I
that?
see Steve.
There you go.
Exactly.
Caitlin, I've got to
Thank you.
run to another
Thank you.
session in Alt Space now, because I'm hosting another session in Alt Space, so I'm going to have to run, I'm afraid. But that was a fantastic session. Thank you so much, and I will be back for the next one, even though it's 2 o'clock GMT, 2 o'clock in the morning GMT. But I will be with you for the next session.
That's dedication. Thank you for that, Tim. Good job, man.
Well, I love it. I love all of this. This is amazing.
It is good.
Cheers to caffeine. All right.
Yes.
Coffee, coffee all around.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
so much.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy the
Bye.
day. I'll
Caitlin.
see
Thank you,
you in the
Caitlin.
other
As
sessions.
always, it's great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Steven,
All
do you want to stick around a little bit? I'll
stick
show you
around.
your
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Okay. Wow.
Hey,
That was
Dave.
so great, Caitlin.
How you doing,
Thank
man?
you. Thank you for being there. That was
That was-
great.
There you go.
That was
Love
awesome,
That was
right?
awesome.
Yeah, feel good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
That rocked. I love the three elements
hear
just
ya.
coming to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I loved, this was great for me to see that tree grow. I loved putting
So now
that in
you're-
and making
you're-
that happen. That was so
Audio's
freaking
not
awesome.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I thought it was great. I think
Okay, I'm
There
gonna
I can.
Okay.
pop my live
Chris is
stream
a little
on.
bit loud, though. He's a loud mouth. He's loud. When I'm loud, he mutes me, but I can't mute him. It's like unfair.
You
Right.
can't mute.
Oh my.
I know, Chris.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't
Trust me,
you
I've
can't
tried.
mute Chris.
You
You
just
just
can't mute
naturally-
Chris.
There you
Naturally,
go.
that's not-
All right.
Yoga.
Right.
We're not
Right.
live streaming
See,
anymore,
see,
folks.
that
Let it
doesn't even work,
fly.
man.
Yay. Woo.
Hey,
I
way to
like
go.
that. Thank you. Thank you so
Love your
much.
boots, by the way. I want to say
Woohoo.
the whole time I want to say I love your boots, but Chris would mute me if I would have done that. So.
You are like great boots.
I
Nice
know.
new outfit.
I am
Yeah.
running on. So Vishnu and I, Brian and I share a VR lab together, so we see each other
Mhm.
every day in VR and outside of VR.
Mhm.
Dude, how much sleep?
And
have we
yes, he is
got?
that
in the
ugly,
last
by the
4
way.
days. We're like 5 hours of sleep in 4 days.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
You
it's
got 5
insane.
Okay.
Like
Right.
5 total? 5 hours
Yes.
of sleep total
Yes.
in
Oh
4
yeah.
days.
I've very rarely been this crazy tired, like almost hallucinating tired.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
I just left. I just got away from him, man. I just left the room. Right.
And there's
Yeah, you're in the
no-
same boat though, man. You've been up too.
I know. I know.
no baby yet, right? No,
No,
baby
my gosh.
child.
So
Right.
I may
He's gotta
have
have
news right
bacon.
now.
Yeah.
We're going to induce tomorrow because it hasn't come today. So we're going to get a time sent
My
to us. I
gosh.
don't know. So I'm going to be a grandfather tomorrow for
Yeah.
my first grandbaby.
Wow.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
man, you're so-
That's amazing.
You'll
That's
be
so great.
from the delivery room in VR.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
we can show you that room. Actually, we have that. Right. Yes.
That would be great. I mean,
I don't
It's
think
funny.
Jen would like it so much.
I know. Usually, pregnant women, they say they like to use VR to get away from the reality of the experience.
Right. Right.
It would be the
Wait a
opposite
second.
feeling. Like, here, Jen, go
Wait.
into VR and be confronted.
Are you telling me you've been involved in something where a woman actually was using VR to actually while she gave birth? Did
Yeah.
you say something?
Well, I haven't personally been involved. I
Oh,
followed
me
it.
neither. I've never even heard of that yet. Holy cow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because it's
Okay.
now showing it lower stress levels. And
Hang on, guys, real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. Whoa. Oh, no.
That kid's interesting.
My
for sure.
goodness.
Whoa, that was quick.
Whoa,
Okay,
wow.
we're good. Sorry, I thought I was getting a call from. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Oh, hey, yes. Hold on.
Okay. That's what it looks like.
And people wonder why
Disappear.
I'm so insane at times, man. I'm around that kid too a lot.
So with this mini group, I guess I want to poll you for like 30 seconds. Do you think in the afternoon I should just have no slides? Like, what do you think?
I didn't pay attention to the slides. I was
Okay.
listening to you.
The tree grew a little bit.
Yeah. The tree grew.
Gone.
It was supposed to grow.
Right. Oh, it was? Oh, as I see.
Okay, that was terrible. That scared me. It was a university calling. I thought it was a hospital calling.
Chris!
Oh, right.
And they called twice. I missed the first one, then they called right back, and I'm like, oh, this is it, sure.
Okay, so I just asked. I asked.
My heart is beating so
Nuts.
fast right now.
Do you have a backpack?
Holy cow, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, you felt that, huh?
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Suggestion, Chris. The nitrous
Yes.
oxide is really great for the father as well.
What did you say? The what's great for the father?
Nitrous oxide.
Ah, okay. Nitrous
Nitrous
oxide.
oxide.
Dave,
I don't know where do I get a balloon of that, right?
No wonder your laser shows are so good, Dave. That's all I'm saying, man. So,
An extra tank.
right. Okay. That explains why those lasers.
This is why Dave's got a tank on the back of his back right here.
Laughing gas.
So Dave was a hero of mine and Chris's when we were like in high school because he created all these Floyd laser shows, man, at a local planetarium, and they were amazing, right? So yeah, they were.
So
I didn't know he was in the back doing that.
side question, Chris.
Yes,
What
let
would
me
be-
3D audio this. Okay, go ahead.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Hey,
What would
so
be the explanation for during the thing? I was at the very end, and I'll show you what it looked like. It looked like a spinning hourglass, like something was saying goodbye to me.
That means you lost connection to the server for whatever reason.
Typically, it's an internet connection. I'm suspecting it's on your side because nobody else here experienced that. If it was our server, everyone would have experienced that. So just a
have a
hiccup.
really
It does
strong-
happen, you know.
Okay,
It's just a hiccup.
I'm at home. I have a strong server in general, but if that were to happen, then I would say, I mean, you know what to do. I think the important part is people just know where the website is and how to get involved in our programs. And you could even like talk some of it. I mean, whatever. I'm not hold to that. I just feel like if I ever get pulled by a cane like off the stage, like she's
Right.
gone.
Right.
I would hate for people to miss like how to get involved. I love
Yes. So you
Protagonist.
need to send
That's
me the most important slides. Send me your whole slide deck, but then send me separately just a couple of key frames that you would want me to share with people. Because honestly, what I'd probably end up doing is just taking them into some of the meditation rooms and walking them through that sort of thing, talking about presence, which I'm super comfortable with.
Yeah.
But definitely sharing the information. But you did
Sure.
come back relatively quickly. I mean, you did.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, nothing powered down. What happened is I just went back to the lobby and then I just clicked join session and it would just bring me like straight back. The sessions would load really fast. So
I wonder what they think over Dragonos, you're muted actually. I don't know if you realize that or not. If you want to unmute yourself, please feel free to join in the conversation also.
yeah.
But yeah, Stephen, let me pull up your set, let you take a peek at just a simple set, but just so you're at least comfortable with it.
I was thinking afternoon I might just not have slides, but I don't know. I don't want to distract people. Like I like the idea of it just being water and tree and
That tree got very big, didn't it? All the way to the top.
yeah, Brian said the tree grew and I said it was supposed to grow.
The tree grew a bit big though.
Yeah.
Big. Yeah, it was a little
too big.
it was a little overwhelming. Like the tree grew bigger than
Like small T already covered like 1/4. So it's like
It was on an accelerated time scale.
Dragonos, where are you joining us from today?
Belgium.
Oh wow,
Oh,
nice.
which part of Belgium?
Limburg.
Okay, I lived in Brussels for 2 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is great. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
this is awesome. I
Well, that
love
works.
coffee.
Equal.
Oh, I love this.
I can make it shareable if I break it, but
Oops.
I'm
No,
concerned
you're
if I
good.
make
You're
it.
good.
My concern is if I make it shareable, someone's undoubtedly gonna grab it and throw it across the room or something, you know.
Don't worry about it. This is
No.
great.
I did boot my first person yesterday. Very
In our
first time
space?
ever that I booted somebody. Someone got up on stage with Alvin, and it could have been innocent. For one thing, I could tell that they were on a PC. I think they were on a PC. And when you're in a PC, you're just not aware of the spatialness of it, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, I got an upfront view of Alvin, and I have no idea I'm blocking the view from everybody else. And so I waited for a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I'll give him the soft boot. I won't ban him permanently or anything like that. Give him a nice soft kick right out of the room.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Get off the stage. You're in the
What
way.
great this has been. We've had phenomenal events in here. Alvin's was amazing.
It was.
Chris's thing today was touching.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Caitlin, I had your poem up there. It's on a big rock, a big slab monument, your poem. And I had an entire, because Chris loves planes, and we had a whole fleet of planes fly in with the sound. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I have to look at that in the replays because I was still sort of doing last prepping for this. And I thought I had a moment where when I did my own meditation this morning, I was like, this is for Chris Long. And I knew somehow that he knew that it was okay that I wasn't sitting in the room and I was
Totally.
in my prep space. But
You were there.
He's
You were
still yeah, thanks. I feel like his I don't want to say spirit. It's like the essence of who he is still part of a lot of this, like just in the heart of it.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Stephen, this looks good. Are you going to be doing the Zach Galifianakis?
Kinda. Is there? Yeah, that's right. Thank you for putting the two trees, and we'll be in between.
Can you please make that joke like between two ferns and you're up there on stage?
Exactly.
Like, did you guys do that on purpose?
No, Chris, this is a surprise. He's always so Chris, you're always so great. I mean, this is a complete surprise. You wanted a
It's
podcast set up or
beautiful.
like, amazing.
It's beautiful.
Did I? No, that's an index finger.
It's a simple scene, but you
That's
wanted the
awesome.
microphones and stuff, so there you go. I thought about putting a thing up there and having him hang down like a boom, but it just didn't. It looked a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's a bit too high to have it hanging down.
That's a long pole. I mean, we can do anything in VR. It was a little distracting.
What of the effects were you controlling for Caitlin? So the question I would have was, if Caitlin, if you were a lone presenter and you prepared most of that, how much was dynamic on your end?
So I'll tell you what I did and what can be done, because I was just so crunched time. It's just been an insane week for me. So the water and the tree growing, those were all synced under a lesson. I made those into a lesson. So I just hit the button and in the editor, you can tell things, when to do things, when to stop things, where to move, etc. I honestly could very easily make this into a completely automated experience. Even with buttons for Caitlin to push. So she says, okay, I want this one. Push the button and let whatever sequence of events transpire, right?
Yeah. We started with
We'll
me
get there.
saying the elements that I wanted, and then Chris asked, well, when do you want them synced? And I said the timing, but then we had the kind of backup where I had access to the elements. So if I needed to in the IFX, I could have like imported each one. It just would have maybe stop the flow of me talking and presenting while they're doing that, because I would have been like, let me just reach and get this tree here.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's just hard to be octopusing, you know, like with your eight arms while you're presenting at the same time. It's even hard to hold the slide tablet because you're like, well, like I noticed in gesturing, sometimes it would move forward and I'm like, how did that happen? I don't know.
It'll be interesting from AltSpace's perspective because we didn't have a stationary camera today, so it's through my eyes. So they're seeing me do all that craziness. So they saw more than just the diamond. They saw the little widget that I was using to keep it totally stabilized. And I was grabbing the widget scaler and just going like this with my hand once it was stabilized. So they're going to see like all those little mechanisms in there, which I think is cool because they can see how easy it is for anybody to do magic, right?
It's like they see the puppetry, but they don't get the experience of just like being